I recognize this audience. I met you in a disco on the outside of Frisco. All right, let's see what's new in the world this week. Despite the agreement reached by UN Secretary General, is it Kofi or Kofi? I've heard both. What is it? General Decaf Annan and Iraqi President Saddam Hussein. President Clinton says he will leave troops and fighter jets in the Gulf stationed aboard the aircraft carrier, the USS I Don't Trust the Motherfucker. During Wednesday night's Grammys, a shirtless man with the words "soy bomb" written on his chest jumped on stage and interrupted a performance by Bob Dylan. And you know what? That was the only part of the song I understood. And I also see that Linda Tripp won for the Best New Spoken Word album, so congratulations. Washington, D.C. this week began a $25 million overhaul of its old and damaged parking meters. City officials hope the new meters will stop people from illegally parking while they're buying crack and handguns. On Wednesday, South Korea's new president, Kim Dae-jung, was sworn in as thousands of citizens stood outside the presidential palace and chanted, "Long live Dae-jung." I got a little more than I expected. Oh, here, big story this week. Combining North African spices and Tex-Mex salsa, homemaker Ellie Matthews this week won $1 million in the 38th annual Pillsbury Bake Off. Ellie said she will use the money to try to get her husband to stop shitting. That got a little less. And on Tuesday, the Pope elevated 22 priests to the level of cardinals, pending, of course, a clean urine test. And a study of 21 nations has found that U.S. students are performing poorly in math. All right, but try comparing our Asian students to the Asian students in other countries. Try that, huh? I bet you we fare a lot better. Ordinarily, I'd shun you, but I am so dug in a hole here. I'm going to act like we're friends. Thank you, babe. I owe you. See, our kids really are far behind some of the other kids. And you know why? Because we place too much emphasis in our culture on style over substance. Now, I don't want to get off on a rant here, but style is whooping up on substance like a drill sergeant on a tubby recruit with a sexually ambiguous first name. As a culture, we're becoming so superficial, it wouldn't surprise me if the E! Channel now qualified to receive federal funding. We're so fixated on the sprig of parsley and the frilly toothpick garnishing the daily special of our mass consciousness, it's completely escaped our notice that all those trimmings are doing is dressing up a plate that's emptier than a Now benefit where the guest speaker is Tommy Lee. Style can probably best be described as substance abuse, because usually substance suffers when style takes the wheel, except, of course, in the case of Joan and Melissa Rivers. Nobody and I mean nobody, brings more depth and import to the subject of celebrity clothes, hair, and makeup. Kudos to you, Joan and Missy. You have tackled a subject that could be misconstrued as frivolous, and you make those 5 hours before the annual Blockbuster Awards as meaningful as the show itself. Substance is a support beam, and style is the mirror ball hanging from it. In many cases, style is simply substance displaced. A Humvee squeezing through the jungle of Borneo is a tool. A Humvee squeezing into a parking space on Rodeo Drive is being driven by a tool. You know, folks, all the money in the world can't buy you substance. Donald Trump has been trying to buy it for years. Sorry, Donnie, but when you go that far out of your way to advertise the fact that you're a billionaire, well, you're obviously bankrupt in all the ways that really matter. And by the way, trim those goddamn eyebrows, okay? Beginning to look like a sod farm for Paula Cole's armpits. You know, because we're so entranced by outside appearances, we easily fall for imitations. For example, there's this guy right now who's becoming pretty successful doing what essentially is a pale imitation of me. He's stolen all my moves, sounds like me, looks remarkably like I do, and people were going wild for him. Damn you, Leonardo DiCaprio! Damn you to hell! In no other arena does style triumph over substance more than in politics. Now, there was a time when politicians spoke in sound bites, but now they think in them. In politics, the most blatant deceptions can be perpetrated and then explained away with smooth rhetoric and careful misdirection that leave the American citizens feeling as if nothing happened in the first place. Politicians know that it's better to be good at looking good than it is to actually be good. Christ, I'm scared. I knew I should have only done half a tab on show day. Hey, you don't have to look any further than the Oval Orifice to find a man who is more interested in looking good than doing right. That's why President Clinton polls the American people before every major decision. That's why he's more changeable than a colicky baby. Christ, the only time he'd buck the polls is if a majority of the American people told him to do so. And all this superficiality at the top trickles down and it infects the herd. We're so wrapped up in image and style these days, even walking the walk requires special $450 walk-the-walk shoes. Every decade thinks its clothing styles have substance. But here's a good rule of thumb. One era's ultimate fashion statement will someday be another era's kitschy Halloween costume. And it appears much of today's music is also right off the rack. It's Just Me or the Spice Girls, one of the biblical signs of Armageddon. They've got We've got 5 Carnaby Street Pop-Tarts with a beefed-up karaoke machine who make Milli Vanilli look like Pink Floyd. Yeah. Can't wait for their Unplugged special, huh? In the style over substance war, Los Angeles is ground zero. You know, there are people in LA who have had so many facelifts they can't attend auctions anymore because every time they smile, their arm goes up. Hey, there are those who would argue that this country was built on dreams, and so illusion is in fact its legacy. Okay, but can't we just split the difference between style and substance? We have to stop living life as if it were a cross between a photo op and a free-for-all scramble for cheap Mardi Gras beads. Let's launch an all-out campaign to eliminate pretension whenever and wherever we see it. Let's take stun guns to people who use more than 6 words to order their coffee, okay? Let's suffocate the motherfucker who insists that wine needs to breathe. Let's slap down pompous comedians who trick an audience into laughing by gratuitous use of the word motherfucker. Let's hog-tie Martha Stewart and force-feed her fat burgers. finally, let's depants Kenneth Starr and check out the curvature on his subpoena. Of course, that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. I want to know what you think, America. Give me a call at 1-800-522-8673. Tonight's guest is a two-time Grammy-winning pioneer of hip-hop and rap who successfully fuses style and substance with albums like Radio and Bigger and Deffer. He's also the star of UPN's In the House. Please welcome LL Cool J, ladies and gentlemen.
That was funny.
Hi, LL. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Woo! Like, yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. After that, I feel like I should have worn jeans and a t-shirt or something. I'm like, damn, yo, that was funny.
Yeah.
That was real funny.
You got a little run in your hat.
That was real funny, yeah. Hey, yo, Dennis, that shirt is a little hairy, man. Let's.
No, man. I'm sorry. I was trying to look hip because.
I hear you.
What are you?
I hear you.
You're the man, aren't you?
I hear you, man.
Huh? Now, when you first got into music, who were the people you looked up to? Did you notice that you happened to be attracted to people you felt were substantive, or just people who were flash when you were a kid?
Substantive.
Yeah.
That's funny. I got into substance because when I became a fan of rap music, there were no videos. There were no pictures of these guys. It was merely these records with no pictures on the album covers circulating in tapes. So I got into the substance and these young kids just saying things that I understood, dreaming the dreams I dreamt. It was that simple.
When you first started out, did you have a idea of what you wanted to say and you built a style around that, or did you just have an image?
Well, what happened with me was, growing up as a child, I was abused. You know what I mean? That explains this hat. No, I'm just kidding. Growing up as a child, I was abused and I went through a lot of things. So for me, rap music.
Abused?
Yeah,
by
I was
your
abused.
father,
My stepfather. But, this right here became, rap music became a way for me to express myself and kind of express my pain. I didn't necessarily say things about that in my music, but it was a way for me to feel macho, for me to feel cool, and for me to feel like I was no longer powerless. So that was what I was escaping from. So I was running from something totally different, even though my music didn't reflect that at the time.
Now, when he was pushing you around, you must have not had hit the weights by then, because he wouldn't be fucking with you now.
I was 8 years old. No. Right about now, I had to put a foot in his ass with. At that point, you know what I'm saying?
You were 8 years old?
I was 8 years old.
What a son of a bitch. That is unbelievable, man.
But it happens. It happens, So hopefully my son won't have to sit here. He definitely won't have to sit here and say that about me. So that's the main thing, right?
Well,
I'm not trying to depress nobody.
No, but you got to break the cycle of abuse at some point. That becomes your goal in life.
The cycle broke me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm done with it. I'm done with it. Now, I feel good. I'm thankful. Hopefully, I wrote a book about it, about my life and the things that happened in my life. So hopefully young kids can read it and be inspired by it. I talked about all the things I did, smoking weed, sniffing coke, doing all the stuff, and told them they like this shit. It's like, there's a dark side to this world.
That fucker invented it.
You kill 10 people? Cool. You know what I'm saying? But I talked about all that stuff and hopefully kids will be able to avoid it. You know what I mean?
Now, does your kid would call you LL Cool J?
Yeah. Yes. We rap at the breakfast table. Mom comes over, she raps. My grandmother's a DJ. Yo, you know what I mean? Everybody's hip hopping and shit. You know what I mean? Wife is serving breakfast doing this. You know what I mean? Scramble eggs.
By posing as the square, I set LL up for the cool answer. I figured I'd take the charging violation.
No, my kids call me daddy, and they're really much more interested in Barney than me. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I'd play Barney for them checks he give me. Damn.
Now, you seem to not fit into any of the molds. Like, I think your outfit tonight is interesting. You look like my banker, except you have.
I got the street scarf.
Yeah, so
and you look like the cool white boy that sells drugs in high school, but a little bit older.
You know what? You can't believe how good this is for me. Everybody thinks I'm such a smart ass, and it's beautiful to have somebody come on and chill me repetitively. You've humbled me. Wow.
Nah, you
I don't want to call you Ollie. I'll call you Daddy. You've humbled me, Daddy.
my son.
Now, but has anybody tried to?
Yeah.
I can't see you listening to anybody telling you how to market yourself.
You know
it
what-
seems to be your own man. But do they try to get you to?
I understand, see what happens is sometimes we think about what you're gonna ask me. I come on with the suit, it kind of throws it off a little bit. If I had the pants leg rolled up, little jeans, hat or whatever, it might have been a little different. But yes, they come to me, they say, "Oh, you need to wear a certain kind of sweater, or could you dress, this is Good Morning America, there are a lot of housewives watching, could you dress a certain way?" My thing is this, judge me by what I say and how I carry myself. Not by what I'm wearing. Because you know what? Dennis, let's be honest. We all know that this suit does not mean I mastered calculus. It's just a suit. Right. So, I don't believe that clothes make the difference.
But I do find it interesting that in contemporary America, I think there are a lot of parents who would feel ill at ease sometimes trusting their kids with some rappers, and you have a highly successful TV show.
That's true.
And then I think there are some rappers who would who would ostracize a guy. It would ostracize a guy who was deciding to do essentially a family-oriented comedy. You know what I mean? It's interesting to me that you can bridge both gaps without losing credibility in either one.
Well, you know what the key is to me? I think that a lot of times we have to understand that at the essence of rap music, and when you talk about hip-hop, when you talk about that kind of music, most of the guys really are just guys that want to make it out of their situation. I mean, it's a rough situation. Maybe they say things that everybody doesn't understand, things that some people don't think are that cool, but most of the guys just want to make it out of their situation. So me doing a television show, I'm just expanding and broadening my horizons, and I got to make it regardless. I can't sit around worrying about whether or not my man right here with the rag around his head is upset because I'm doing a TV show. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're going to pay my phone bill.
You got to take care of it.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, I got to do what I got to do. And plus, this television show for me is a chance and a forum for me to put some positive messages out there so we can break those stereotypes so he can feel more comfortable about respecting his family and going to school and being normal instead of trying to walk around like a killer when it's not necessary. That's the way I feel about it.
Now, when's that Wu-Tang sitcom coming?
It might come. Hey, don't sleep. If somebody asked you 6 years ago, when's that LL sitcom coming? You'd be like, you know what I mean? Before Will Smith did Fresh Prince, they Will with a TV show. You know what I mean? I think it's just a matter of time. I think that younger kids don't see that black and white thing as much as adults. You got to remember that. Adults, they get older, get jaded. Dad makes a couple of comments about the news. Look at him getting shoved in that police car, motherfuckers, something. You know what I'm saying? And then next thing you know, the kids grow up and they get bitter about life and they have different feelings about people. But young kids, they're honest. They're truthful. Not always. Did you clean up your room? Yes, and they're lying. But when it comes to their behavior, they're truthful and honest. If you're fat, they call you fat. You know what I mean? And I think that's the important part. I try not to look at the world too much through the black and white thing. I understand that it exists. It doesn't bother me. I know that some people are racist, and if you racist, that's your problem. You got to carry them bricks. But me, I got to keep moving. So I try to judge men by how they,
Christ, how much sense do you make?
You know what I'm saying?
Huh? Jesus. Huh?
You know what I'm saying? That's the way I look at it.
Well, I see you putting all these varied showbiz things behind you someday and being a leader, man. Jesus, you make, huh? You cut right through it. I love
because
that thinking.
I'm going to be honest. My thing is this. I'm not interested in trying to be like this pretentious guy that, makes money and walks around and shuns valets and, spits on the homeless guy that's outside Mr. Childs when he's jumping into his Mercedes. You know what I'm saying? That's not really my thing. My thing is, but I'm not trying to be Robin Hood either because I don't want to rob the rich. I want to work, get rich, and then give to the poor. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like split in the middle,
You're a pragmatist. I admire that in a human. What do we got next? We got line one, Scotty from Long Island, New York. You got a question for our guest. Scott?
I do. What do you guys think about one artist sampling another's music and maybe even going so far as to win a Grammy?
I didn't hear. What did he say?
What do we feel about one artist sampling another guy's music and then going so far as to win a Grammy?
Well,
on the other guy's music.
None of the artists who get sampled seem to be bothered by it, so who am I to be bothered by it? I don't hear anybody really protesting it.
That's true. That's one side of it. But you know how I feel about it? I look at it like this. Nobody asks those questions when, somebody sings somebody's song over, then it's a cover tune and it's classy. Why is that? You know what I mean? It's a cover tune. When Michael Bolton does, when a man loves a woman, that's a cover tune. Oh, that's a cover tune. That's different. You know what I mean? That's stylish.
It's just
eloquent. You know what I mean? But you know, if Puff samples a record, then he's a piece of garbage. How could he? He's making all this money. It's not fair. You know, come on. Stop being. You know, my thing. Don't be a hypocrite. You know what I mean? Would you take the check?
I'm right there.
You know what I mean? So let's do it. You know,
I'm waiting for the day that Puff samples Michael Bolton.
Hey, yo. If you think they wasn't on the phone last week discussing some remixes or something.
I guarantee you.
So
Now, what do we got here, LL? I want to talk about the new album before you go. You're nice enough to come on. I want to sell the product here a little bit. LL Cool J Phenomena, this is your new album?
That's my new album, Phenomenon, and I have a lot of different songs on there, a lot of guest artists. I have a song on there called Father where I talk about what we was talking about earlier. You know, abuse and overcoming that. And, you know, there's a lot of interesting things on there. You should check it out.
Well, you know what, man? I'll honor your desire for yourself. I won't think of you as a Superman, but I'll think of you as a damn good man. You seem to make a lot of sense. LL Cool J, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to keep it loose. Hang around. See, my wife always sees him on TV, and she says he seems like a very sweet man to me, and certainly he proved that. All right, let's go with the news here. Past the lips and over the tongue. Look out, interns, because here I come. You've got more sexual energy than I do, but for Christ's sake, stop pumping me, Bill. Diamonds, daisies, blowjobs, that girl. We have sent a clear message to Saddam Hussein. Let the UN inspectors in or we will have no choice but to negotiate. No, honestly, tell me, the boots and the tie, do they look good on me? Come on. I won't kill you, just tell me, do they match? I swear, I will not kill you. Former Philippine First Lady Imelda Marcos announced she is running for president this week on the greedy, thieving, fucking bitch ticket. During long policy hearings, Senator Trent Lott wonders who would freak out if he raised the hair on his forehead to reveal his third eye. Sometimes when the navigators were too busy to notice, Seaman First Class Jimmy Jones would pull out a little wheel and pretend he was Captain Crunch. Every day, gay Asian performance starter Bamboo looked for the perfect fresh cucumber with which to perform his grand finale. Who's responsible for that? I am merely a conduit. Next time, Ruben would read the Learning Annex course description more carefully. You, have you seen my hair? What about you? Here, during Sunday Mass, the Pope realizes he's getting really bad with names after accidentally referring to Jesus as Kenny. So tell me, Ahmed, if Gilbert does not like Job, why does he not quit? Toby is responsible for installing the mechanism which guarantees that no matter what your destination on any airline, the in-flight movie is always Curly Sue. Halfway through his joke, Steve realized it had a racist punchline and just said he had forgotten the ending. When it comes to finger pointing, nobody does it better than international blame consultant Freddie You Did It. Starting out a robust 25-year-old man, Jeff's attempt at breaking the 72-day record for continuous submerged masturbation had taken its toll. It wasn't until the third time somebody yelled, "Hey, you with a giant hot air balloon shaped like a cartoon train," that Reggie realized they meant him. Pierre was always ecstatic when his 120-mile-per-hour slap shot nailed the goalie in the schmoo. Whole joke built around calling a penis a schmoo. I am such a schmoo head for doing that. And finally, after her facelift, it was hard to tell when Margaret was sad. Guess what, folks? That's the move, and I am out of here. Good night.